Before you press the snooze button life again, ask yourself this: how many more reasons are you ready to accept? Describe yourself. I used to be the king of do it tomorrow, until I understand that we tell ourselves that tomorrow is not going to happen. To feel better about being lazy today. Putting things off is more than just a bad habit. It kills your dreams slowly, and I've been through that. There was a time when I saw chances pass me by that I chose to go through my fingers. Comfort over action, I told myself. That I did better when I was rushed, that I had to feel what it was like to have a limit. Before I could truly shine, but the truth, I was just scared of failing, scared of achieving, scared of facing the fact that I was losing my own possibility. If you're tired of living in the shadow of your own powers, are you sick of letting things confuse you? Excuses run your life. Wait a minute, I'm about to teach you something. That woke me up from the avoid putting things off and into a life of goal and behavior are not the same thing. Common advice you've heard before, controversial. They make me feel bad, but they say just what you need to hear if you're ready to stop putting things off and begin living the way you've been putting. Tip number 1, divide work into small parts that you've heard before. Split it up into smaller jobs, but to be honest, most of us don't care about this. Help, because it seems too easy to be useful. I used to think the same thing until I was getting lost in being overwhelmed by looking at a mountain of unfinished projects, held back by the how big what I had to reach. The truth is that we avoid this approach because we really like the stress of having too much to do, makes it giving us a reason to put things off. And then, when the dates come up, play the victim. Getting close. But here's the disputed part. Breaking jobs up into smaller pieces isn't just about keeping track of. It's about getting rid of the workload. Reasons I didn't want to break tasks. I put it down because I knew it would leave me. I liked without having to weight the safety blanket of being too busy to fall back on, so I could explain why I didn't progress. But one day, I ran into a wall. I had been putting off a job for weeks was over, and I had no choice but to break it down or face Because of that, I broke it up into small, bite-sized pieces, and something surprising happened, and I began to getting things done quickly in the accomplishment. By crossing off even the smallest job was addicting. For each finished step built speed, and before it was the mountain I had been on, avoiding was just a bunch of little hills behind me. The real treat when you split up a job and get going. Understand that the stress was only a make-up, a way to stay stuck in your mind. If you don't use this approach, you're making the choice to stay in the pain of putting things off instead of stepping. Let yourself feel the pain of growth, and I can tell you the second one is much more rewarding. So stop making it sound like the break it up with the confusion of having too much to do. Bite by bite and get a handle on, you'll be amazed at how much you get done. What you can get done when you stop letting the size of a job scare you. Tip number 2, give yourself due dates for. When it comes to schedules, they're the evil that we all have to deal with, but love to. We tell ourselves that we hate. The schedules are so tight that they kill ideas and that we're better off. I used to think that too without them. I thought I was being brave by saying no, to help me finish my work on time, as if it would be easy to be creative and productive, freely, as long as I gave them enough room. But here's the fact that might upset you. When you don't have goals, you just float. Wasting your time and energy on the false sense of freedom I used to be proud of. I pride myself on being a free person and refusing to connect my to-do list to a calendar. I thought, why put stress on myself? The creative mind needs to rest, but the I wasn't really free. I was lost. Some jobs took weeks to finish, months, because tomorrow would always come around to finish them. Tomorrow, of course, next week, next month, and then never. Without due dates, I was going against to hide their own success behind the excuse of having to wait for the right time to get things done. And then there was the day I missed. I missed a big chance. I'd been putting together an idea that might have been a game for me, but I kept putting off the date, made me sure I'd have more time. When the chance came up, I was left feeling only sadness. That's I realized that schedules aren't there to keep us in, they're there to keep us safe. From our worst desires without them, we're just letting our dreams go. The turning point is even farther away. When I started setting due dates for everything. Yes, everything, not just the big projects and the little ones. Tasks that don't seem important but make a difference was quick and deep. All of a sudden the to-do list wasn't just a bunch of dreams and wants. It was a set of clear endpoints and steps that can be taken. The sound of the clock became a driver, not a source of stress. I wasn't just working. That made all the difference for me. There is a big change. There is something strong about giving yourself a due date. It's making a line in the sand and saying that this job will be done by now. Done. It forces you to decide what to make choices. And I found myself becoming more committed, more controlled, more focused, and read more, being creative with a due date. I had to be smart about how to cut costs, to cut through the noise, and do my best work in the time I had. And guess what? Thoughts and ideas didn't suffer. They grew. Because I had to meet a schedule, I think outside the box to come up with new ideas and get to the main point here. Setting goals isn't about stress. It's about the choice they make you make. Choose to commit and move forward. Nothing is certain in life except the time going by. If you don't set your own due dates, or life will do it for you, I promise there'll be much less. Forgiving and setting a due date are acts of respect for yourself. It's telling yourself that you should value your time and objectives enough to be done, to be realized. It's about how much you value your own word and being responsible for it. When you give yourself a due date, you're recovering your time by controlling it. You're not willing to take charge of your life. Let putting things off steal your possible. You're choosing that you're that person who gets things done. They start with people who value their time and their plans to see them through to the end. And don't forget, set due dates also teach you strength. Sometimes you won't meet them. Things will go wrong sometimes in life. That throw your plans off. But even then, setting a goal gives you a way to refocus, to change and keep going forward. They teach you that moving forward is not about being perfect. It's about, don't be afraid of schedules. Just keep going. Take them in and prepare them for everything. Keep an eye on how good your work is and your life changes. Limits are on your side in the fight against putting things off. Help you live a life where your deeds should line up with your goals. If you make them your standard, you'll find yourself doing more than you would have ever thought it was possible. Tip number 3, make a reward system. We've all heard that you should treat yourself, but how often do you actually use it to get more done? The thought of making a prize system could sound silly or even tricksy at first, like you're giving yourself gifts to get things done. I used to believe the same thing. I thought I should be able to get my list done. List just for the sake of control or the want to do well. But here's the tricky truth. Restraint by itself isn't always enough, and sometimes a small push can make all the gap between completing tasks and being stuck in a loop of putting things off. When I first started adding benefits to my work, it was odd that I had set a small goal, end writing a report or making through a tough workout, and then, if I do something good for myself, like watching a new episode of my favorite show or giving in a snack I had been wanting at first, I wasn't sure if a simple gift would really drive me. But as I started to add this method to my daily routine, I saw a shift of jobs that had things that used to feel like responsibilities became tasks, and I was more excited too. I took them on because I knew I had a real prize waiting for me at the end. But let's talk more about why this works, because our brains are set up to look for enjoy pleasure and stay away from pain. When you make as a prize scheme, you're basically changing the way your brain works, naturally making use of its need for fun to your advantage. The hope of getting something sets off the release of dopamine, a chemical linked to. This chemical gives you drive and pleasure. Boost does more than just make you feel good. Actually helps you keep your mind on track. And now this is where it gets. This is something we are often taught, that working hard should pay off on its own. We shouldn't need outside forces to motivate us, to push us through. But here's what. Life isn't always a film clip from Rocky, how strong your will can get you. But sometimes you need to trick your brain into working together, especially when you're doing things you don't want to do. In particular, enjoy. That's okay. It's not about being weak. Putting together an award system is also smart. How to teach yourself the value of backed-up happiness when you know there's a prize at the end of the tunnel. More likely to get through the parts of a job that are hard or boring. Over time, this exercise makes you stronger and makes you more dedicated to your work. You start to think of hard work as good results that can change your whole approach to getting things done. Reward doesn't work in my life. Always need to be big or pricey. It's sometimes enough to just take a 10-minute break to stretch and grab a coffee from my favorite coffee shop, or even just telling myself to stop for now. The most important thing is to work for the day. Make sure the prize is something that really gets you excited about, something that, no matter how small, it feels like a treat. Also, here's the greater message. An award system helps people learn how to. When you take care of yourself, you acknowledge that you should be able to enjoy the benefits of your work hard, no matter how small the win is. It's about stopping the bad cycle of endless work that doesn't get any credit for, can cause burnout. And by giving yourself a prize, you're not only getting people to act, you're getting your relationship better with your work and what you've done. But be careful. This isn't an excuse to take it easy or to treat yourself, for every little thing is important for a good. There is a balance in the award scheme. Should put in as much work as you wouldn't. Take a trip for yourself for taking care of some emails, like you wouldn't miss a prize for the end of an important project, is to find that just right, so the prize feels like it was won. And important tip number 4. Make it clear. Goals are something we all talk about, of making plans, but let's be honest, we don't do it well most of the time. Write down general goals like, you can save money or get more done. Then question why we're still in the same place after a year. Here's the truth that is debatable but not clear. You're just setting clear goals. Setting yourself up to fail a goal without direction, you can't get where you want to go. You might know where you want to go from this picture, but you don't know how to get there, or even worse, you might not even start the journey. I used to do this. Set these big, lofty goals with the best of goals, thinking that as long as I knew what I wanted in general, I'd figure it out in the end. But time and over again, I found myself falling short of being angry, and it didn't get me going again until I started making goals that are clear and specific, that things changed. I'm talking about goals with clear deadlines for results, and clear goals with steps that could be taken to leave room for doubt. When I made the shift, I chose to begin with a small amount. When I say I want to get in shape, I set a clear goal. I'm going to work out for 30 minutes, 5 days a week for the next 3 months. I laid out exactly what kind of I would work out, when I would work out, and how I would keep track of my progress. Surprise, it worked all of a sudden. Just trying to get in shape, I was having done it and seeing results. The making the goal clear gave me the time frame and direction, gave me setting clear goals felt like a must. I had to face my own as an excuse. When your goals aren't clear, it's easy to not be responsible. I can always say, I'm working on it, not really doing anything. But when your goal is exact and clear, there's no room for error. There were two options. You did it or you didn't. Being responsible in that way can be, it's not only painful, but also really strong, that it makes you own up to it, of what you did and how far you came. Here's the real reason why clear goals are important, more than just reaching certain results. It's about being clear about. When you make a clear goal, you're telling everyone and yourself that you are sure of what you want and ready to get it, no matter what. A word of desire is a promise that living your life doesn't just float by, but making your future happen. A clear sense of goal keeps you going and helps you find your way that is tough to get rid of. But here it is, gets heated, and most people stay away from making goals that are clear. If you're afraid of commitment, there are some comfort in not being clear about your goals, in keeping the idea alive that you could becoming great if only you had the time, money, or the right to things that happen. And hazy goals let you live in the dream of what could be, without ever having to deal with the truth of work that might fail. But that's just a trap, is a way to avoid the pain of real growth. But clear goals they want you to commit. They make you put your foot down and say, this is what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to do it. Going to do it. And that promise can scare you, because it means if you are responsible, you can't run away behind reasons or put the blame on outside forces when things don't go as planned. But it's still making you free, because it gives you the power to run your life in my. Having set clear goals for myself it's not just about the big goals, whether they're making plans for my day or a project. I can't even decide what I want from a getting to know. Clarity has made all the focus, lessened the difference it made for me, my stress, and helped me do better in not as much time. But it's still important to set clear goals. Not a one-time thing, it's a steady process. You need to go over your goals again, cleaned up and sometimes completely changed as you get bigger. And when things change, it's about being enough to change with the times, but focused enough to keep going. And the most important thing is to be honest with. Think about what you really want and what you're ready to do to make it happen. It's okay to ask for specifics, detailed, clear goals that don't leave any room for doubt. In case there's any question, spell out exactly what you want, why you want it, and how you plan to get it. Going to get it done, break it down into clear steps to take and a due date to. Do this to hold yourself responsible. You're not just making plans, you're making a plan for your success. You're putting dreams into action, a clear goal at a time. Tip number 5, look for a duty to account. If you think you can handle everything, find a partner. By yourself, think about the idea of going after your goals by yourself. It sounds romantic to sing alone, but in following this method will lead to putting things off and standing still. The debatable truth is that independence is not important. If you really want to achieve your goals, you need someone to hold you down. Partner, someone who will put your feet on the fire and make sure I used to do what you said I would do. I thought I didn't need anyone else's. I thought that would help me stay on track. Depending on someone else to drive you or taking responsibility was a sign of weakness. The truth is, though, that going it alone. A lot of reasons are made when this happens. Not making much progress, it's simple to persuade yourself that skipping one workout, putting off a due date or letting when no one is around, goal slide isn't a big deal. No one else knows about it. But if you have a partner in responsibility, that changes a lot. The first time I tried having a partner to hold you accountable, we made a pact to help us reach an exercise goal. To talk every day, talking about our progress and pushing each other to stay on track with what I saw right away was how much more committed I decided there was no way I was going to. I let my partner down by not coming, and that outside push made everything change. All of a sudden I was responsible to myself, to another person who really cared about how well I did. But here's the thing, finding the right person to hold you accountable, you don't just pick someone you need to pick someone from the list of who is going to tell you the truth. Someone who will not be afraid to tell you off to tell when you're not working hard, and who's just as much as you do about your success. There is no need for a fan in this case. It's about people who only give praise. Finding someone who will push you to be, it's better even when it hurts. This is where it gets controversial. Stay away from responsibility, friends, because don't want to face the truth because of how you act. It's much easier to live in denial, to tell ourselves we're not giving it our all, when we're really just coasting. A partner who is responsible takes away that false impression they have through the excuses and the reasons, as well as the half-hearted attempts, and that can be very uncomfortable. But also, it's just what you need if you're determined to reach when someone holds you responsible for your goals. Else you won't put things off as much. Why? Because putting things off works best in being alone, when you're the only one who. It's easy to push when someone knows your goals. You put things off to tell yourself you'll do it when no one else is around. It makes checking in on your progress fun. An urge to do something you don't want to, let them down, and, more importantly, yourself. Don't want to let yourself down in front of them. But let's move on. Finding a responsible partner isn't just about getting things done. It's about building a support system. It's about surrounding yourself with people who believe you can do it, who push you to grow, and who celebrate your wins with you. This isn't just about getting things done. It's about putting together a support system that can get you through the hard times and keep you going when things get tough. When things get tough in my own life, I've learned that the best responsibility partners are the ones who care about the same things when you are both trying to reach a goal. Synergy is a natural result of something that makes both of you want to succeed. It turns into a two-way street where you are not only getting help, but also giving it this shared responsibility. Makes a connection that's more than just seeing each other often is what it's all about, putting money into each other's success. And here's a pro tip. Do not be lazy. Partner doesn't have to be someone you see every day because of technology. You can be anywhere in the world. Text, video call, or even on social media. Being consistent is key. Usual check-ins, whether once a day or once a week or once a month, to keep the energy going and make sure that both of you stay on track. What this really means is that asking to help them lean on others and admit you can't do everything by yourself. Not a weakness, it's a strength. It's the understanding that we are social beings, wired for connection, and that we thrive when we help each other by finding an accountability partner. You're not just improving your chances of success, you're also in your life with more depth, relationships with common goals, and a sense of community. So if you're really interested in getting what you want, stop trying to go it alone. Find someone to hold you, be responsible for you, and push you to do better. Help you along the way. As you do that, you'll not only accomplish more, but you'll also grow stronger, more resilient and stronger, ties to the people who that matter most. So there you have it, 6 strategies that work to beat. Stop putting things off and take charge of your. But let's get right to it. Isn't just about finishing more work, to pick the way you want to live. Putting things off is more than just a bad habit. It's self-sabotage. It's the reason that delays your dreams, your goals, and your possibility. You can keep putting things off, letting fear and doubt dictate your actions, or you can make the choice to start fighting back today, not tomorrow. These plans are made up of little steps, and take your time. It won't be easy. But every step forward is a win. Don't forget that you're not the only one going through this. Whether it's a partner who holds you accountable, using technology, or making it clear you can use tools to help you reach your. It's important to start now, not when things feel perfect, because that day may never come. This is about more than efficiency. It's about living a life without regrets. Your future will know that you gave it your all. You need to keep your promise to yourself. Putting things off takes away the life you want. Deserve to act, take charge, and start making the future you've always wanted. Seen the only thing that was still there. What's stopping you from reaching your goals? The choice to begin with.